The curtain comes down on Easter Rugby League here on Sky Sports, with two of Super League strugglers facing off in the south of France as the Catalan Dragons take on a Huddersfield Giants side who have interim head coach Chris Thorman in charge following the sacking last week of Rick Stone, their coach. The Giants are looking for a win that would move them up into the top 8 of the table, while the Catalan Dragons need the win just to halt their poor start to the season. Well, here are the results so far on this Easter Monday. A wet, some places very wet Easter Monday it was, particularly at the Mender Hose Jungle. Somebody had left the hose running by the look of things. Castleford 6, Warrington 18, it finished there. What a dramatic finish at Hull FC, with Mark Sneed's late drop goal earning them a 27-26 victory over Wakefield. Leeds comfortable winners against Salford 20-0. Wigan equally comfortable against Hull Kingston Rovers 44-6, and St Helens continue their march at the top 28-6 against Widner's 100% Easter record for the Saints. Catalan Huddersfield coming up. Here is the table so far. Saints out in front by 4 from Wigan. Warrington leads. Hull up to 5th. Castleford dropped to 6th. Wakefield stays 7th. Widnes stay 8th. Salford then in 9th. Huddersfield currently 10th but can improve. Hull Kingston Rovers remain in 11th. Catalan Dragons remain rooted to the bottom of the table. So the Dragons will be looking for their second win of the season, and they have a pretty strong side taking the field to try and achieve that, with David Mead ever present in all 8 so far at fullback. Then it's Jody Broughton just getting back into the side after a couple out. Ian Thornley, Braden Williame and Fuad Yaha scored 2 tries in defeat on Good Friday. The half-back combination, their 5th half-back pairing already this season, of Tony Gigo and Samisoni Langi. And then in the forwards, Remy Casti, the captain, Michael McLaurin, Sam Moa, Louis Anderson, Benjamin Julien starts, and Greg Bird at loose forward. No place for Benjamin Garcia. Not even on the bench for the Catalan Dragons. The bench occupied by Paul Ayton, Julian Bousquet, Michael Simon and Jason Baitieri, and the coach are feeling the heat one way or another in the south of France. That's Steve McNamara. Now then, Huddersfield, a host of changes, not least the fact that Chris Thorman is in charge of the side following the departure of Rick Stone. Darnell McIntosh is at fullback. Then it's Jared Simpson, Alex Mellor, Aaron Murphy. 17-year-old Innis Senior makes his debut. Jordan Turner and Jordan Rankin in the halves. And then in the forwards, Sebastine Ikehihifo, Adam O'Brien, Paul Clough, Dale Ferguson, Michael Lawrence, who captains the side, and Daniel Smith. And on the bench, Shannon Wakeman, Ryan Hinchcliffe, Akuma Tai, and a debut for Colton Roche, a fresh-faced coach in Chris Thorman. And just looking at that Giants side, they are without Jermaine McGilvray, Jake Marmo, Leroy Cudjoe, Lee Gaskell, Tom Simons, Oliver Roberts, and of course Danny Brough, who we understand has picked up an ankle injury. I mean, Easter is tough at the best of times, but doing it exceptionally tough, the Huddersfield Giants. New coach, bags of players missing.
Well, they were without several players when they played against the Leeds Rhinos on Good Friday, but they still came away with a point. Some youthful enthusiasm, a lot more movement to the ball, and a zest about themselves, really. I think their confidence refound. Obviously, they are the underdogs, I presume, travelling here to the south of France, even though the Dragons themselves have been awful this season so far. But it's going to be a fascinating contest, this. It really is. I mean, they have been the 2 worst performers in the opening 8 rounds of Super League, but both of them at any time could turn on something special. There's not much to separate them with what we've seen so far. Which side has the most confidence going into the game? And I think that will be one of the biggest challenges for both of the men tasked with coaching these sides, especially the Catalan Dragons, at home with the pressure and anxiety that having playing in front of your home crowd provides, but still being able to play with the freedom that allows them to keep the ball alive and do the instinctive things that make them a good rugby team.
You feel, though, that given the start that the Catalan Dragons have made to the season, start's probably not the right word, the way the season has unfolded so far for the Catalan Dragons, this is the archetypal must-win game, John. Surely.
It's got Steve McNamara's job written all over this, hasn't it? I think if Rick Stone's job went last week and we'd seen the performances that Huddersfield put in, then I think, and rightly so now, the time has been invested in Steve and the personnel there at the Catalan Dragons. They're just not producing at the moment. This, for me, is a make or break week for them.
I'd beg to differ a little bit, John, in that when I've watched the Catalan Dragons in the last 2 games, they still look like they're trying hard. And there was a difference in the body language and the energy between them and Huddersfield in the last 2 games under their coach, Rick Stone. I mean, even at 36-4 down at Hull, the effort and commitment and the collective will of the Catalan Dragons was very impressive at the KC Stadium. And, you know, I think this team have got a lot in them, that they're impressive. For a team at the bottom of the table, still to be trying as hard as they are and playing as a team is admirable, and something you rarely see.
There's a difference, though, for me, and this is the big difference I've seen while watching the Catalan Dragons in consecutive weeks, is there's trying hard and playing smart, and I think there's a big difference between the two. And the coach and staff have to bear a lot of the responsibility for that. They're getting themselves into good positions, Bill, and we've said on so many occasions how many plays have been aborted, how many plays haven't been worked through properly, how many penalties they've received and then looked absolutely directionless at the other end of the field. They're arguably going to come up against the Huddersfield side, not only hit by injuries, but there's a potential for a queue in the rack mentality following their fantastic draw in recent form terms for Huddersfield against Leeds on Friday.
Yeah, drew 22 all. They haven't had the easiest of journeys to Perpignan. It looks a lovely evening in Perpignan. Certainly a big improvement on what the Giants left behind. They were late leaving Leeds Bradford Airport because of the snow there this morning, 2 hours late, in fact. And so tough baptism for that man in the middle, Chris Thorman, who's had quite a week because celebrating the arrival of son Nolly James. So congratulations to Chris and to Fenny on the arrival of Nolly James, who arrived just as Rick Stone was being sacked and Chris was being told that he was caretaker coach. So that's quite a lot to contend with. And whatever happened to paternity leave in these situations? The Giants get the first touch of the ball then in sunny and mild Perpignan, and they'll be looking to settle into this game and just play on surely the Catalan Dragons' nerves, because they will be very twitchy, Catalan. They know the significance of this game.
If there's an individual in this Catalan team, though, that's potentially not, well, he's certainly not tarred with the brush at the rest of the club and the criticism that I, for one, have given them in recent weeks. He's Sami Soni-Langi. He comes back into the half-back position, having been injured for much of the season, and arrives with a clean slate. Yes, there'll be some pressure on him, but he hasn't gone through the rigours in the same way that rest of that team have. It'd be very, very interesting to see whether he grabs the game by the scruff of the neck.
Could be a 40-20, but it's straight down the field and it's going to ping across the turf, and David Mead will watch that one run dead.
Well, he'll be one player who was particularly pleased to see that Danny Brough doesn't stand in the opposite side here, because an aerial bombardment from Brough is something that most of the Giants teams of opponents have faced this season. Mead, to me, hasn't looked particularly confident or happy under those high kicks, and I still guess he'll get some, but not with the Brough threat that they usually come. He's an important player, Jody Broughton. I think that the Dragons' inability to make breaks has been one of the detriments really in the start of the season, but back in the side, they're a far more dangerous attacking team if he gets his hands on the ball.
Scott Michalauskas is the referee in Perpignan. His video ref is Phil Bentham. And the conditions the best that any side has probably faced this Easter weekend. Certainly a big improvement on the last time we saw the Catalan Dragons in action at home. That was the game against the Warrington Wolves, which was played in a torrential downpour. Here come the Dragons with Sam Mowers. Mead bursting onto the ball.
That's better to see from, isn't it? Forwards passing to backs. They scored from it at Hull with Guijo going over. A bit more confidence in throwing the ball around as Guijo throws it high.
There he is, hoisting the kick, Tony Gigot. The ball is batted back. It's picked up by Casti. That'll be the turnover.
Yep, there's the interplay that you're referring to. I think the significant part of that combination is David Mead. As the grounds firm up and the weather improves, I think you're going to see an awful lot more from him. There's some contact in the air there. I think that's a genuine contest for the ball.
Well, number 23, Darnell McIntosh, was outstanding when they played against Leeds on Good Friday. It really was. I mean, running the ball so dangerous, so active.
Is it Alex Mellor that's receiving
it is.
some treatment?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's a...
Left centre.
No silly penalties, Greg.
Always so careful these days, don't they? Anything to do with the head or neck. Maybe we're going to... So it looks like he's been rolled there, just maybe caught. Wrong side. Head underneath. He's at the bottom of that tackle, is underneath Remy Casti. Yeah, just a twist and a turn.
Not what you want, a big
Fellas,
French prop landing on top of you like that. Remy Casti making an impact. Alex Mellor seems to be back on his feet. His Seb Ikahihifo then. And he is met by Casti. Benjamin Julian in there as well.
Well, this has to be an area that the Dragons improve on. I mean, against the Salford side, they conceded 9 penalties. In this sort of position of the field, they gave a free taxi out of trouble to their opponents by just sometimes being too enthusiastic, up too quick and offside, or holding down in the tackle. Not commit them trying, but they've got to play within the rules here and prevent awarding a penalty to their opponents.
Daniel Smith's progress is halted. Here is Paul Clough, making his 39th consecutive Super League appearance. Well, Super League and Super 8s. That's a 40-20.
A brilliant kick.
Short
of the 20, one. Just short of the 20, isn't it? It's in between the 20 and the 30 line. It is. The kick, Jordan Turner it is, who puts the boot to ball. They've been heavily reliant on Danny Brough for so many of the kicks so far this season. Some might say too reliant on one player for so many attacking kicks or territorial ones. We won't see that. You'll see more of a spread, I would imagine, here with Turner and Rankin, who were playing scrum half and standoff, taking more of that role.
Heads in, bind! Bind, Darnell! Darnell! Out!
It's Tony Shigo feeding the scrum. Played in 3 different positions since returning to the side following his suspension. Full-back, centre now in the halves. Louis Anderson puffs the cheeks and takes it up for the Catalan Dragons. Here is Greg Bird. Such a big influence on this side, Greg Bird. They're trying to drag him into touch. Bird appeals.
Well, surely the tackle was completed. I was amazed here as Greg Bird, he's hit the floor. The balls and the ball carrying harm have hit the floor. How's that not a penalty?
Bird is mystified by that. He was still moving. Huddesfield head and feed.
Well, that isn't an easy thing to do, is it, for a powerful player? Who is he doing in the end? Picks him up.
It's Seb Ikahihifo.
It is, yeah. I believe it is.
Well, if he decides you're going somewhere, you're going somewhere, aren't you? I think that's what we can agree from that.
So that's a great result for the Giants. Good work. Gets them possession. Adam O'Brien now. It's reshaped Huddersfield side. Here he is again. O'Brien, a 24-year-old hooker who's been ever present this season.
That's heavy
Most
contact.
of them at hooker, he felt that.
Didn't he? Really heavy contact in the tackle. Some marbles rattled there. Greg Bird, and it's Benjamin Julian and Greg Bird, both of them connect, neither of them miss in an area that has come under a lot of scrutiny, hasn't it, over the last 3 or 4 days, and that's contact with the head. O'Brien regains his feet, just allows the marbles to settle.
Well, was there a yellow card in the Widnes St Helens game for a similar tackle where the defender made contact with the head?
And I think Scott Mikolauskas has penalised Catalan there, just trying to see on the side of the shot there.
Well, he almost knocked Jack Walker out on Good Friday with an early tackle. He looks like it's almost happened to him here. 5 minutes gone. They've had to make the first change.
O'Brien comes off for concussion assessment. Huddersfield get the penalty.
This line, fellas, hold this line. Go.
So what will they do? They've already had to jig things going into this game. Now they've got to... Ryan Hinchcliffe coming off the bench, presumably. There he is. Straight into the action. The former Melbourne Storm man. Clough. Back to the line. Bird involved as ever. Here's Turner now. Turner's short pass finds Dale Ferguson. Ferguson has copped one as well.
There was another late shot on Jordan Turner as well. After he'd passed the ball. Really positive attacking set, wasn't it, by Huddersfield? Right from the first tap, Murphy into Turner, into strong running Daniel Smith. Yeah, it's a late shot off the ball by Sam Mower.
Well, he got suspended for one of those earlier in the season against the first game, I think it was, against Widnes. Here's Ikehihifo. And it's a big opportunity. Back-to-back penalties for Huddersfield now, and Hinchcliffe is trying to find a way over. Bird manages to stop him. Smith passes away, but Lawrence can't take it, and Louis Anderson picks up for the Catalan Dragons. Golden opportunity goes begging, and Rankin is penalised.
Well, neither of these teams have been particularly good at scoring when they get close to their opponent's try line. They've had lots of play the balls on or close to their opponent's try line, but unable to get over it. And here's another example of that. Ball thrown a little bit too hard. The man's already marked. Mike Lawrence already tackled almost in that stage, and then they concede a penalty to just help Catalan out to that end of the field. It's almost as if they'd be better attacking from the halfway line. They might have more chance of scoring from there than this reliance and obsession with getting close to the other end of the field and then hoping to crash over it.
Whistle's gone again. Louis Anderson just wondering exactly what for. Hard to work out there. Wasn't that obvious. There's another blow of the whistle.
Yeah, but you need to be onside as well. It's on the cross.
You want the player to start in the right place.
Goal.
So play resumes. Not exactly sure what that was about. Our broadcasting partners in French not giving that many clues at the moment. But Catalan in possession with Greg Bird. Nice footwork. Bird plays the ball. Here is Samisoni Langi now. Mead gets the pass away to Braden Williame. We haven't really had a meaningful attack from the Catalan Dragons yet, but here comes Jody Broughton. Once a Huddersfield man, he got 16 tries in 32 appearances for the Giants as Langi kicks cross-field, and the ball is beautifully grabbed out of the air and dealt with by Jordan Turner.
An excellent take from Turner, didn't he? He got himself into perfect position, leapt high, good clean catch.
There's nothing wrong with ending a set like that. The crossfield kick, was competed for by the Catalan Dragons. Jordan Turner comes down with it. It's now this defensive set. It's what's let them down all season. Generally, by this point, they'd conceded a penalty. So already there's an improvement here. Huddersfield getting to the end of their tackles and still camped inside the 40-metre area. If a side does it consistently enough for long enough, they'll come up with something, be it field position or territory, as they will here. The Dragons likely to get this ball back and start the set on the 30 or 40-metre, or failing that, a mistake coming from the opposition side.
Mead and Broughton linking up, and then Broughton.
It's a great
for
sign.
Williame.
A great sign for the Dragons there. They've got the confidence, haven't they, still to pass the ball. I know they've started other games like this, but their opening record in this first 20 minutes is absolutely abysmal. I know they've done a lot of things poorly this year, but scored just once in the opening 20 of all the matches and conceded 10 times. At least at this almost 10-minute mark, they're still 0-0.
And they have a great record on Easter Monday to the Huddersfield Giants. It's 5 years since they last lost at home on Easter Monday. That was against Leeds in 2013. They've won their last 4 at home on Easter Monday. And generally, they've got sides travelling to visit them who've had a busy weekend. Probably a bit worn out. And Catalan make them pay. They don't on that occasion. Huddersfield come up with the ball.
Well, they did get Broughton though, didn't they? Contesting the ball again with McIntosh. It was a knock-on, I think, from the Dragons. Referee said play on, but this is that test here now. Are they happy to continue? Is the concentration good enough to continue to do what they have to do here? Trapping Simpson, holding him up, twisting him, turning him onto his back, and winning these rucks plays.
There's a cliched term, isn't there? We refer to it as the arm wrestle. This is it. This is what it looks like. This is the visual representation of the arm wrestle in the game of rugby league. Who is going to blink first? Who's going to come up with an error first?
It's Huddersfield in possession with Jordan Rankin and Jordan Turner in the halves. That's the combination. There is no Danny Brough for Huddersfield. Adam O'Brien off the field already with a head knock. And here is Fouad Yaha. Tony Gigot. Now Ian Thornley. The sides still battling for ascendancy in this game. Benjamin Julian. Bird takes the Catalan Dragons over the halfway line. 4 tackles gone. McAlorum, little run from him, then finds Thornley, but Thornley faced by a very experienced campaigner in Aaron Murphy, who stops his progress. Langy onto Gigot. Gigot hoists a kick, but it's too deep, and it's claimed by Jared Simpson.
Well, they'd be relatively happy, I think, they're controlling the ball, they're controlling the game. And this is something that the Dragons haven't done too often. The home record is, if we're further so far in 2018, it's far stronger at home than they have been on the road. More impressive. And unlucky to lose against Wakefield, and you could say a little bit against the St Helens side. They were close in both of those games, but close isn't good enough.
Hinchcliffe with the run. Rankin's pass, Turner, and the Giants going wide with Darnell McIntosh. It's the 5th tackle, so Jordan Turner hoists a deep kick downfield, but Mead underneath it. The PNG international hoping to burst through a gap in the middle, but Paul Clough slams the door in his face.
It's an interesting time here now at 12 minutes when very few stoppages in the game. No scores, obviously. It's gone end to end, and it's physically going to test both sets of players when you're moving for that length of time. The outside backs from the Dragons coming in here now. Yeah, single players.
That's significant, isn't it, Phil? The sharing of the workload. The players, first of all, the back 3 sitting very deep, making sure they're taking the ball and facing upfield. The extra couple of metres that it gets from the work you put in before the kick will help immeasurably as this game goes on. And then it was 4th tackle before a forward had taken in that set. It's a good rest set for the forwards for the Dragons.
Samisoni Langy hoists that kick. It's going to go out on the full.
When you asked who was going to blink first, that's the blink, I think. I think Samisoni Langy, I know, is this his 4th game here now for the Dragons. I've been disappointed in his play so far, John. I mean, he missed some terrible tackles in the last 2 games defensively, and we've not seen a lot from him in terms of creative play for his teammates around him. That kick goes over the sidelines. He's one player I think who was under more pressure than anybody.
Came to the Catalan Dragons from the Leeds Centurions, Samisoni Langy, ex-Sydney Roosters man. Has got a good pedigree, Tongan international. He was in the Holden Cup Team of the Year in 2013 when his star was rising, but certainly not starring yet for the Catalan Dragons. It's Huddersfield in possession. This under-strength Huddersfield side, but they gave a good account of themselves against the Leeds Rhinos on Good Friday. Unlucky to be denied victory, and here they come now with Jared Simpson, and Simpson dragged to the ground by Jody Broughton. 4 tackles gone. Turner hoists a kick out wide. Innis Senior bats it back, and it's pounced on by Ian Thornley. 17-year-old Innis Senior getting the touch there. Giants Academy product. His twin brother Lewis played against Leeds on Friday. It's Innis who gets the shout this occasion.
Well, he might have a bit of fun and enjoyment too, because if you think in the first 15 minutes, twice Huddersfield have been able to go around with good pace from Darnell McIntosh on the left and on the right. They've created that extra space. Might not be too long before we're seeing young Senior on the wing getting a free run down that line as Bird. He's been amazing in the opening 15. You can't question his determination. Scored a good try against Salford. He's trying his hardest.
Langy finds Lewis Anderson. Now here's Braden Williame. Williame, good job. Rankin was there to make the tackle. That's the 5th. Williame looking threatening there. Samisoni Langy drills the ball downfield, but sits up nicely for McIntosh.
That's good positioning from the fullback, and Huddersfield, they start their set on their own 30-metre line. There's not an awful lot really to see if you're looking at game plan areas of the field that either team are looking to exploit. It's more about getting through sets at the moment, maybe building a little confidence during the game. Huddersfield, as we know, got what really was an amazing result for them, given the way that they've been going following the departure of Rick Stone. That 22-all draw against the Leeds Rhinos on Friday. The Dragons, well, they were on the end of another shellacking, but you're right, Phil, they had some fight about them. This game is about growing in confidence, as Huddersfield are now.
It's Paul Clough. So Rankin hoists that kick into the corner, putting Jody Broughton under a little bit of pressure, but Broughton deals with that one and then gets to his feet. Colton Roche off the bench, making his Giants debut. Colton Roche, he's got a knock by the look. Oh no, it was Michael Lawrence who was just getting up off his knees. But Huddersfield showing up well here. Braden Williami with little room to move.
Well, we might expect a low-scoring game. I know you say that the Dragons over Easter have a great record on Easter Monday, but they've played 8 games so far this season, only scored 15 tries. They've not found it easy to get over the line as Guijo kicks it deep.
And the Catalan line is there.
It does seem as though the petrol tank for both sides is depleting very quickly, doesn't it? A lot more players walking now back, single players to get forward. There's not a lot of passes being thrown or support around the ball carrier.
Well, it's been fairly non-stop, hasn't it? Very few penalties. Here's Daniel Smith now. Smith runs into the tackle of Casti and Louis Anderson. Just over the halfway line now. And that's well taken by Akuma Tai, and he's still going, very nearly got away from Thornley. Good quick play the ball. Catalan in a little bit of trouble here. Catalan in big trouble. Little skip back in field, and Aaron Murphy will get the first try of the game and put that down to a storming run from Akuma Tai. Chris Thorman ringing his changes and bringing Akuma Tai off the bench, and it's paid off.
It's a ball after the second phase from Turner to Murphy, but you're right, Bill, the try was scored following a fantastic run by Ike Hihifo. We're only getting the replays of the actual try plays. It's not where the magic was made by Huddersfield. Murphy will take the points, they'll take the lead. It's worth having a look at Akuma Tai's run in the play before, and there's potential bad news here for Catalan Dragon supporters. Greg Bird not looking in a great condition. Was that a result of the contact with Akuma Tai in the previous tackle?
If my memory serves me right, it was a lovely short pass from Ikehifo to Tai to actually get them rolling forward, isn't it? When you get two big men like that passing so close to one another, you're almost forcing there's a one-on-one tackle, and the man, well, it takes far more than one man to stop Akuma Tai at full flight when he's just come on fresh. An intelligent introduction there of a big man that's had the correct impact from a Giants perspective.
Darnell McIntosh will take on the goal-kicking duties for the Huddersfield Giants. No Danny Brough. And looking to improve that try from Aaron Murphy. His first of the season, and that's his 70th for the Huddersfield Giants. And McIntosh nonchalantly blasts that one over. And Greg Bird, who really has had a storming first period of the game, leaves the field.
Lovely pass there from Jordan Turner, wasn't it? Across the face of one or two of his teammates. I think maybe he's been underused as the centre position, Turner. I know he's got number 4 on his back, but I think he's got the potential to be a Joel Moon type character because of his ability to run, pass, tackle and kick as Bird leaves the pitch at the present. But if the Giants are to win this, I think Jordan Turner will be their man of the match at the end of it.
Oh, no, from the restart, Huddersfield, and it was Darnell McIntosh who's just converted that try, who couldn't take the kick, and immediately that's put Catalan on the offensive, and Huddersfield's celebrations are cut short.
This is where you want to have a close look at the Dragons. What are they setting up for now? What does this play consist of? There's a set-up play. Lange's on the open side. There's talk going on. This is where they've been so poor, Bill.
Quarter of the game gone. Ball popped over the top, and it finds Jody Broughton. Broughton will go in the corner. Has he got that ball down? Has Jordan Rankin managed to deny him? Referee Scott Michalauskas calls for Phil Bentham's view. Try awarded on the field. Broughton, it looks, had the strength. But it's up to video ref Phil Bentham to clarify.
Well, there is an anxiety with the Dragons when they get close to opponent's line. They've been here so often and failed to score. But the pass, I'm not sure who he threw it to exactly. Braden Williami ducked underneath it. He wasn't interested. It did get to Broughton, and we can't tell from this angle on this side of the field, I don't believe, whether he's in play and he grounds the ball successfully. It's a brave effort from Jordan Rankin, who comes over, hits it with everything he's got. Can he push him to the sideline before he grounds it? Probably not. 4 points back. They couldn't take the kick-off, and it's cost them dearly.
Quick look from Phil Bentham. He's got the angle that he needed. Scott Michalauskas just waits for confirmation. And how bittersweet that was for the Huddersfield Giants. Scored the try. Darnell McIntosh converted it, and then they immediately give possession to the Catalan Dragons, and that's the outcome. Is it a try? Still waiting.
It's going to be about whether there's sufficient evidence to overturn the on-field
ball's
decision.
Down.
Jody Broughton's boots are red, so I don't think it's a question that his feet are in touch. It's just where the elbow is, where the ball's grounded, and that to me...
The ball touched the ground before anything else, doesn't it?
Looks fine.
Jordan Rankin protesting, but looks as though we might have reached a decision. And the try is awarded eventually.
Just crept over. Maybe that was a fair representation of how close it was.
Well, we have to go back to the kickoff to actually start this set, wasn't it? It was an amazing play that Huddersfield couldn't cope with. I'm not sure whether it's Tony Guijo who actually made that kickoff, but it's got them straight back into it. I mean, having conceded the first try, they needed to strike back quickly for their own confidence and sanity more than anything. Now he's given the task of trying to convert from the sideline.
Interesting to see Thomas Bosk involved in the talk there. There's a suggestion that they're going to re-register him, such as the problem they've had in the halfback department.
Very important player for the Catalan Dragons over the last 10 years. A big part of their success on the field.
So can Tony Guijo level the scores? Difficult one for him. No sign of Luke Walsh. Guijo can't hit the target. Luke Walsh, a long-term absentee. Here's the try again.
Well, they might have only just about scored, but I'm sure that will boost the confidence and belief. They've come up with some passes. They didn't go directly to the man. Well, they've passed the ball and they've crashed over the line just about. They've looked strong for the opening quarter, but I think their confidence and nerves are perhaps the biggest issue for the Dragons at present. They've lost the belief that they can score when they get close to their opponent's line.
Well, that will help in that respect. Just the decision for Michael McAlorum to go short side, of course it's vindicated because Jody Broughton scores in the corner, but it's not the obvious play, is it? They've got a big setup on the open side. They've got Sammy Soni Lange directing troops. You say it's a moot point, Phil, I know, because the try was scored.
No, I won't. I'll say that I think they need to do things that aren't the obvious. They've been doing the obvious for 8 rounds, and the obvious hasn't been working for them. I think they need to change and do things differently, either attack from a different place or... I mean, they've made more offloads than any other team in Super League, more than Leeds Rhinos, and everyone has this perception that Leeds keep the ball alive. But things haven't worked for them, so they'll have to change things. I don't think it's about changing the coach, but changing the tactics.
Darnell McIntosh having the problems keeping the ball on the kicking tee. I think there's a bit of a breeze in Perpignan this evening. Interesting that Jody Broughton, who scored that try, when Catalan were clicking in attack, he was scoring tries. Remember, he scored that 11-minute hat-trick for Catalan against the Giants not so long ago. Jody Broughton, 2016 in fact. What they wouldn't give for that sort of scoring power now. They just welcome every try as it comes along. Grubbing for them they are almost. Meanwhile, they and Huddersfield.
That's good though, isn't it? Some movement to the ball, some movement of plays. It means that the defenders have got to work harder than just tackling the straight up run. Kick now to the corner, that's a good play.
Back goes McIntosh to field it. The Giants and Catalan have the two weakest defences in the competition. Whose defence is best there?
Well, it was Michael McIlorum's. The kick and the chase. It came off McIlorum's boot from acting half. Darnell McIntosh, who I was thinking was rather casual about the skirting the line to give themselves field position in terms of where we were on the field, the middle of the field, far too high into contact. McIlorum, well, he's turned an 8 out of 10 kick into a 10 out of 10 result for him.
Yeah, but look who's there with him. Jason Bartieri. That's meat and drink to a player like him.
Well, Darnell McIntosh was far too relaxed and casual when it came to kicking off to restart. It only went 20 metres. I don't know whether he's a little tired and drained here after 2 very demanding games. He's obviously played Leeds and he's had a tough 20 minutes here against the Dragons, but he's got to try a bit harder than that.
So it's put Catalan in a great position now. And here is Baitieri. Still going towards the line.
Goal line.
But Aaron Murphy doing well there to slow his progress down. Samisoni Langi now. Gigot getting in a tangle with Louis Anderson. Put the brakes on. Anderson did as well, so Gigot takes things into his own hands.
It's another aborted play. Something that's not quite right yet, not quite clicking.
McIlorum serves it up to Samisoni Langi. And that's a knock-on from David Mead.
Well, would you guess that it's having a fullback in the right position? I mean, every team wants it, don't they? But when they pass it out in that aborted play you just referenced, usually the ball goes next to a fullback who's in the right position. And I know they've trialled a few different players. Lewis Tini's played at fullback. Tony Guijot's played at fullback. David Mead's had most of the games there. But that's not worked for them, has it, so far?
That's Mead's position. That's what they signed him for.
Mead's a running fullback. He's not necessarily a ball player. He's not a 6 in a fullback jersey. He's an out-and-out running fullback. Very good defensively, really, really quick, good communicator, experienced, but his passing game is not the top of the list of his attributes.
But it's Huddersfield with the injury problems. We gave that list of who's not there today, with Danny Brough foremost among them. They're leading at the moment by 6 points to 4. Let's not forget that.
Adam O'Brien back on, a really tough competitor for them. Look at the width they're trying to play with, although again, just steps back inside McIntosh. They're trying to stretch the opposition defence.
Sam Moa and Benjamin Julian making the tackle on Jordan Turner. That's the 5th. The kick comes in, and it's straight into the arms of David Mead. And Mead always eager to bring it straight back to where it came from. This time he offloads to Tony Gigot.
They look like they're on the front foot there now, don't they? On the first tackle on the halfway line.
Gigot breathing a sigh of relief. That ball very nearly got away from him. Thornley now.
This is where you have to question whether they need to throw a few more passes and have a few more players run into holes.
Well, they've got the big guns firing at the moment. Paul Ayton is out there. Mikel Simon will play the ball. Here's another of the big guys. It's Julien Bousquet. Bousquet rumbling up the middle. Quick play the ball from him. Huddersfield could be caught out here from Samisoni Langi. Almost through, needed to be a good tackle. It was. Change of direction from Ayton. Finds Tony Gigot. Gigot's kick is way too strong. Fouad Yaha could not deal with that.
Why would you not go through the hands? It looked to me like they had a number, or at least there was some really big spaces between Huddersfield defenders there on that left edge defensively. Needn't be preordained, Tony. Send it through the hands, and Fouad Yaha may well have had a very different result there.
No Jake Mamo for the Huddersfield Giants. The last time they were in Perpignan, he got 4 tries in a 56-12 victory. Brough and Jermaine McGilvray, a couple each. On loan, Martin Ridyard, 7 goals from him. None of those playing in this game for the Huddersfield Giants. Players making their returns to the side. That ball's been stolen. First penalty for some time. Jason Baitieri not impressed with that.
Well, it's very difficult here. You see Baitieri try and pull out here of the tackle once the ball's coming free. I don't know whether he's lost the ball, though. It's a very difficult decision for the referee and a challenge for the sport, isn't it, to know what do we do there with those interference penalties. About 40% of all penalties in rugby league come from situations like that.
Coming up to the half-hour mark. Huddersfield ahead by 6 points to 4. And the Giants in possession. And here's another one of the players coming back into the side. Shannon Wakeman making his first Super League appearance of the season. He's been on loan at Dewsbury. Aaron Murphy. Very much part of the furniture, Aaron Murphy. About 20 metres out they are now with Jordan Turner. Turner finds Jordan Rankin. They're banking on the Jordans of the Giants. O'Brien recovered from that knock to the head. Here is Jordan Turner's kick. Nice angled one, and it's Ayton who's going to have to try and get it out of trouble, and he's going backwards. Yes, that's where he's going.
You talk about the fact that Danny Brough isn't playing. This is an excellent kick from Jordan Turner against the flow of play, wasn't it? Reversed so that it was hard for the Dragons to change direction. Ayton did so, but they forced the first goal line dropout. They've had 20 of these so far this season. They've only scored 1 try, so again, this isn't something that the Giants fans will get too excited about, but I suppose at least they're back in possession.
The more times you get a look at an opposition line, particularly an opposition line that's been leaking points, I think the better you're going to be as a team.
Tony G goes down. Has a strange aversion to goal line dropouts, Tony Gigot. They bring on a sort of reaction. It's he who will launch this one. Not off too far. Nice juggling. Rangi Chase would have been proud of that one. Here's Shannon Wakeman. And Huddersfield immediately on the front foot with O'Brien. Akumatai. O'Brien doesn't look any the worse for that knock he got. That's good defence from Braden Williami, and McIntosh is hassled, harassed and driven back. 3 tackles gone, lost a bit of momentum there. Hinchcliffe, Shannon Wakeman, Turner, and he finds Inesigne, and Senior just stumbling. The way to the line just seemed to open for a moment for him. Turner's pass finds Shannon Wakeman. That's the 5th tackle. Huddersfield in a great position here. Turner dinks the kick across into the corner. Senior goes up for it, and it's Fouad Yaha comes up with it and loses it, and Aaron Murphy steals it and could have a second try.
Well, did he take the ball in the in-goal area? Was he saying play on? Did he mean tap on the 20? He's not sure himself.
Well, we know where we're going, and we know what question's going to get asked.
No try for a diffused bomb.
Fouad Yaha,
well, he's
confused there.
Yeah, he's convinced he's taking it inside his in goal, and he's making his way back to the 20. Well, the footage there shows us something else. He's jumped from the field of play into the in goal. So this is now a live play, and he's been stripped one-on-one. This will be very, very interesting call.
Well, I wonder why the referee said no try.
I think the call has come from the touch judge that he's defused that bomb. Such is the protestations from Fouad Yaha.
Well, we need to see both feet now. Where does the left foot get to before he jumps from the field?
Is he on the white line? Is he on the line?
It's hard to tell. I can't commit from there whether he is in goal with the left foot. That's That's what they're trying to look
You'll
at.
see there.
Possible, isn't it, John?
Well, this is where,
in that case, it's no try, isn't it?
This is the significance of the on-field call is perhaps going to save the Catalan here. I think either way, Fuad Yaha's
the referee's signalling play on.
He's waving play on. Fuad Yaha needs to secure that ball. Right.
It's a quick decision from Phil Bentham anyway, thankfully. And the try is turned down
because they're saying it's
slightly bewildering there.
Well, we think the video referee's interpretation is that he has caught the ball in the in-goal area. I agree. So whether the video referee's got it right or wrong, in our opinion, is irrelevant. That's the video referee is just a second opinion for the referee.
Well, the video referee could be actually going with the on-field call because he's got no evidence there to overturn the on-field referee decision.
That's a massive let-off.
And a lesson for Fuad Yaha as well, yes.
Yeah. Jason Baitieri. Kumatai wrestling with him. And the ball's been spilled by Busquets. It'll be a knock-on. Huddersfield head and feed. Tony Gigot protests.
Well, there's a hand almost on it.
Nah, he's trying to offload that.
Both sides here now in conditions that they've not been used to playing in the opening 8 rounds. Hot, dry.
The conditions are too good, is what you're saying.
Jordan, let's go.
Well, they all seem to want a breather. Although we've just had one for the video ref. They've got sunstroke, the Giants.
Well, the lift leaves Bradsford. They left the airport this morning in the snow. And here they are in 15 degrees in Perpignan. And holding a 6-4 lead so far.
Well, in many ways, they'll be fatigued as any other team in Super League, but they've got better conditions to play in. 15 degrees, what you'd give for that these days. I can't remember the last time it was 15 degrees.
Certainly wasn't 15 degrees at the Mendehoes Jungle. It might have been 15 feet at the Mendehoes Jungle in depth.
15 metres breaststroke.
Jordan Turner's the key here. The more often they get the ball to him and the ball moving at pace, that's when he's most dangerous because defenders freeze. He's such a threat, creates space for the players outside him. Here he is with a kick.
On the last tackle, the ball goes high and wide towards Jody Broughton, but no threat to the winger there.
And that ball had some real height on it, didn't it? You'd see the adjustments that Jody Broughton was making under the high ball. And a good kick chase, and the Catalan Dragons now trapped in a corner.
And forcing the Catalan Dragons to bring this ball from deep in their own half. Jason Baitieri gets a knee in his face there. Here's Busquets bustling. Wakeman with the tackle. And now Mikel Seaman goes without the ball.
Well, that's the last 2 sets here now. They've come up with mistakes.
Catastrophe. Bernard Gouache, the chairman's in a bad enough mood as it is, having had a run-in with Rugby Union in the Perpignan area. The last thing he needs is another home defeat.
It's a throwback to the Vichy era, wasn't it?
Apparently, yeah.
Disgusting comments. It's a really interesting history, the history of rugby league in France, isn't it? Some interesting books being written about the subject.
Hold there, Greg. Hold
it's
there.
Booming at the moment. Maybe not at the Catalan Dragons, but the Toulouse Olympique doing particularly well out there in the championship at the moment.
Well, they were until Toronto went there and won.
The top of the table or second?
Toronto gone top, I think, after their win.
Well, it feels like a try coming here for me, the Giants. If they can just find enough pace and energy. The other team have slowed down.
Here is Paul Clough. O'Brien, Akumatai, Turner takes the pass. Then Rankin's kick, and then the kick ahead is batted. It was the kick from Darnell McIntosh, and Broughton just had to bat it over the dead ball line.
It is a very relaxed style, isn't it, by McIntosh? tall fullback, but his kick was effective. Jody Broughton taking no chances, and the pressure winds up just another notch against the Catalan Dragons,
who will eventually get round to restarting with the goal line dropout.
and Gigo's come out in a rash again.
Again, doesn't get great distance on it. It's Jordan Rankin underneath it. Now Shannon Wakeman, Italian international, played at the World Cup last year. Paul Clough.
It's good pace, isn't there? They're playing the ball quicker, they're running harder, doing everything they can here to extend this lead.
Greg Bird obviously recovered. He's back on the field, and Rankin bursting through. Jordan Rankin so nearly making it to the line. And Mead, and guess who? Greg Bird managing to deny him. So crucial to the Catalan efforts, Greg Bird. Here's McIntosh. He's upended. Catalan defending desperately then as half-time approaches. Huddersfield in a strong position with 4 tackles gone. Turner, Akumatai. He's put on his back. That's the 5th tackle. They're bang in front of those posts. Here is Turner now. Turner fires the pass to Rankin. They got the overlap. If they can get the pass away, they can, but it's forward. Lawrence will celebrate, but he knows that that won't count, and that was a golden opportunity.
Well, 2, wasn't it? I mean, don't forget, we go back a moment before. David Mead's try-saving tackle to deny them once. They go back to that side of the field. They've got the space, but they can't find the pass, and the Catalan side are clinging on. Clinging on here as half-time approaches.
So they got away with it there. Big chance for the Huddersfield Giants to extend their lead just before half-time. But they'll look to force another error from Catalan, and they've come up with 1 or 2 of those, have the Dragons. An anxious performance from them, under pressure, bottom of the table. Just the 1 win to their name, and that was a narrow one against Hull Kingston Rovers.
Good tackle. Aaron Murphy's probably one of the most underrated and under-commentated players in Super League. Gets very few mentions, and yet he's a very good player in my opinion.
Well, he's got his first try of the season already in this game. He could have had 2. Denied a second by the video ref. Here's Samisoni Langi. Greg Bird now. Bird finds Williame.
That's
Good
the side,
defence from
isn't
the
it?
Giants.
That's the side. If they're going to go to, they're going to have some success. It's that left edge. They seem much more natural. McIntosh taking no chances. Again, straightening up. That's a good kick and a good chase by the Dragons.
Darnell McIntosh, just 20 years of age.
Jared Simpson, we're not seeing a lot of him either. Another youngster at the Huddersfield side who's got great potential. Senior now in his senior, taking it forward. I'll tell you what, it's a tough place to make your debut. Perpignan against some pumped-up Frenchmen.
Here's Jordan Turner. Here's Dale Ferguson now. Ferguson, masses of experience. Clough. It's the 5th tackle, so the ball's belted downfield. Jody Broughton will run it back. Good chase from the Giants. Lawrence there to lead the tackling. Samisoni Langi. Huddersfield offside.
Well, there's enough time here now. Can they kick to touch quickly?
Oh, they've got time for a set. Lazy on the short side by Lawrence. Smart work by Samisoni Langi. Took the ball on the short side.
Gonna have to throw some passes here, though. We've seen lots of big men running hard. I think if you want to get through the Giants, you won't just run over them. Needs to be some creativity.
Well, Greg Bird can be creative. But here come the big men. Here's Mikel Simon, who loses possession again.
Well, there's not a lot you can say there, can you? He's trying to turn and offload to his teammates, but the Giants have spotted it. They're too aware, and it flicks the other way.
Why are you trying to turn and offload to your teammates on the second tackle of a? You've got a perfectly good attacking set. You know, many teams in training runs, they'll set up on the 40-metre line at the start of a set to go through 5 predetermined plays. Yes, have plan B and plan C, but plan A cannot be trying to offload in the tackle on play 2.
So Huddersfield grateful for that misjudgment once again by the Catalan front rower, squandering possession, and they might be able to do something with this now. The ball for McIntosh.
Clough now
Here's
takes it to the
Clough
line.
once more, and Bird goes in to make sure he doesn't make any more progress.
Julian, 10.
That's the 5th tackle. Turner fires the pass to Aaron Murphy. Murphy is able to offload. Here is McIntosh now. Change of direction, finds Jordan Rankin. They go wide to Michael Lawrence. Lawrence will be bundled into touch, and that'll be the final action of the first half. And it's Huddersfield who'll leave the field in happier mood after a very gritty first 40 minutes. A try apiece, and Darnell McIntosh's conversion proving the difference between these two sides. 2 of the bottom 4. This is a crucial match, and there's a crucial second half to come. Well, summer must be here soon, because it's the Masters coming up. Thursday it starts, and Ian Poulter will be among the field on day 1 of the Masters, which you can see from 7 o'clock on Sky Sports Golf. And the sun, in fact, is shining, evening sunshine in Perpignan, where the Huddersfield Giants are leading the Catalan Dragons by 6 points to 4. After a twitchy first half from these two sides.
Yeah, we asked the question who was going to blink first. A very, very close opening 15 minutes. A Kumatai's run. The pass came from Ike Hihifo, and that directly preceded the opening try of the game. It went to Aaron Murphy. Good finish from Aaron Murphy, but as you take another look at this, it's Jordan Turner who's going to come in for some praise. I think he's had an outstanding first 40 minutes. They only lead by 2 points on the scoreboard, but most of the good stuff that the Giants have done has come through him. Directly from the kick-off, however, Darnell McIntosh puts the ball down, and that set up position for the second try of the first half, the first of the Catalan Dragons. Let's have a couple of looks at this, but Jody Broughton adjudged to have scored.
Well, he scored many important tries, but this would rank in the top 10, I think, with the pressure on the Dragons at present, and he squeezes in to ground the ball just before he goes out of play. From that point on, really, then, was a fascinating situation. Tony Guijo kicks for the corner. They scored from it last week, but not today. The kick goes too far for Yaha. And I suppose when you look back, you may wonder whether the passing option would have been a better one. Easy from the commentary box with hindsight. But they need to take every chance. Here's an interesting incident, and a controversial one too. The referee, don't forget, look, we're not sure whether he has a foot on the line or not. The referee waves play on, which indicates that the game can go on. And Harry Murphy then commits the tackle. It's inconclusive from both of those angles whether his foot is in or out of the in-goal area. And he grounds back into play, grounds back in the in-goal, gets back into the field of play. Aaron Murphy at this point, you know, referee's waving clearly. Play on, that's a signal to the Giants. He grounds the ball. And that rather confusingly, the video referee says no try. The Giants feel a little unlucky with that and with this play when the ball went forward to Michael Lawrence. Unlucky on the left and on the right.
Yeah, they could have had more, the Huddersfield Giants. As it is, just the 1 try for them. Darnell McIntosh converting it. 1 for the Catalan Dragons from Jody Broughton. So really tight contest, as you'd expect from two sides at the bottom of the table. Desperate to get points to boost their prospects of avoiding the bottom 4 come the end of the season. But at the moment, it's the Huddersfield Giants who look the better prospect. Well, another busy week of action coming up here on Sky Sports next Friday. St Helens in action again, fresh from their victory over the Widnes Vikings. They face Hull FC. That should be some game. 7:30 for that. It's on Arena and on Main Event on Friday. And then a double header on Saturday at 3:10 on Sky Sports Arena. You can see the Salford Red Devils take on the in-form Warrington Wolves. And at 5:10, the Wigan Warriors will be in Perpignan. Always a big occasion to take on the Catalan Dragons, and that is on Sky Sports Arena as well. So that's next weekend. This game rounds off Easter Monday and the busy Easter programme. And Huddersfield Giants, who've drawn against the Leeds Rhinos on Good Friday, looking to round off their Easter campaign with a victory over the Catalan Dragons. They lead 6-4 at the break, and the consensus in the commentary box is that they could have had more.
Yeah, that's certainly true. It's Murphy with the only try. This scored on the 20-minute mark, following a great break, wasn't it, from Kumatai. And the reply from the Catalan Dragons. But I think the point that we were making while we were off air, Phil, is that it's not so much the points that have been scored, but the opportunities or the points that have been denied to this team.
Well, here's the brilliant tackle by David Mead, the fullback, to deny Jordan Rankin. That's one try that was definitely saved. And then another one, controversially, obviously not awarded, was the one when the video referee chose to deny Aaron Murphy's second.
Still trying to figure that out, because play at one point was definitely waved on, wasn't it?
I can only assume that in between the ball getting grounded by Murphy and blowing time off, he's had a word with the touch judge, and the touch judge has informed him that it should be going up as a no try. That's the only scenario I could imagine why you would seemingly reverse your decision during live play.
Yeah, the video referee may have corrected the referee by saying he'd caught it in goal. That's an explanation. But as it is, the Giants lead by just 2 points. I don't think we're going to see that many tries, but we're going to see some tension in this second half.
Certainly there is tension, because a lot at stake for these two sides. The Catalan Dragons, this is it again. Now Fouad Yaha's the man for the Catalan Dragons going up to claim the ball.
So the interpretation by the referee at this point is, you can see Scott Mikulowski to the left of your screen. You watch the hand signal once he takes this ball. It's a clean take by Fouad Yaha, but he's obviously assumed at this point that he has run from outside, or from the field of play into the in goal, waved play on, the ball is stripped, try. There you would assume would be the natural thing to follow. Referee's blown time off, then gone upstairs saying no try. So there's somebody has been in his ear at that point, in between those 2 points, to correct him.
Well, narrowest of margins, 6-4 the scoreline. The two sides coming out. Catalan really under pressure. Just one win in 8 games so far this season, and the side stuck at the bottom of the table and in danger of losing contact with the teams up above them. And Huddersfield, meanwhile, if they were to win this one, they could find themselves in the top 8 come the end of the Easter weekend. So big incentive for this under-strength Huddersfield side, and this crop of recruits that Chris Thorman has brought in, and players playing in new positions, have certainly done the club proud in the first half. So many players back at home not making the journey because of injury, and they've got the Catalan Dragons on the back foot at the moment. Jordan Turner just having a word with Shannon Wakeman then, very much in the thick of things for the Giants, as is that man, Tony Gigot. Just waiting for a referee to get things underway.
Well,
that is who's missing.
The best player of the first half is a man who's about to get us underway for the second, Jordan Turner. I think he's looked a natural. He has had experience in the standoff position in the past. I think he's an excellent player.
There's a lot of times, though, he was at the first receiver and fed Jordan Rankin took a wider out. I'd like them to see that reverse, and I'd love to see him moving with the ball in his hands, with players around him. It'd be almost like a Leon Price type threat, really, wouldn't he? As, you know, surging forward with his power and pace.
Greg Bird claims the restart then, and now here's Jason Baitieri. Made his 200th career appearance on Good Friday, did Jason Baitieri. Now, Mikel Simon, and I bet one of the words of advice from Steve McNamara at half-time was Mikel Simon, don't let go of the ball. Here is Busquets now. They've been their own worst enemy at times of the Catalan Dragons, not just in this game, but this season. Now here's Samisoni Langi. Michael Lawrence with the tackle.
Yeah, probably the most important play in any game or any set of rugby league. The last one. How accurate is that kick?
Gigot hoists it, and Benjamin Julien comes up with the ball. And have the Catalan Dragons got the dream start to the second half? Well, they might have, but we're going to need the video ref to confirm it.
Check onside, offside.
Well, it's the most common way they've got of scoring so far this season. Hoist it high in the air and hope for the best. A lot of onside enthusiastic chasers, or so they're hoping. We'll check to see whether they are behind the kick as it comes through. It's only Gigot here now, hoping that Fouad Yaha hasn't spoilt it here by standing in front of him.
That's a really tight call, isn't it?
Well, it's almost impossible, isn't it, from that camera angle to tell whether he's in front of the kick or not.
Well, Benjamin Julien has got his rewards for his follow-up.
It looks to me like he is offside. I don't know what your view is. It's only an opinion. It can't be a fact, can it?
And if he is, that's a criminal offence. Now on for Fouad Yaha, that's
it is impossible to tell, though, isn't it?
It is. There's no need for him to be offside at that point.
So if the referee's awarding this as a try, the touch judge is obviously 10 metres further on. He can't tell whether he's behind the kickers or not. There could be a touch judge below us that tells us on the left touch line.
I don't think you can, as a video referee, you can make an assumption there one way or the other, whether he's onside or offside.
So that's inconclusive, isn't it? In which case, you know, we'd like to see if there's a knock-on from the Dragons. In his senior tries his best. He gets up and off the ground as he's coached to do. But that ball, if anything, comes backwards, doesn't it, from Fouad Yaha? Now then, is there a knock-on from Ian Thornley before it gets to Benjamin Julien? This is the next thing here now. Left hand. Does that ball go backwards? Does it make contact with his hand?
I think he maybe misses that altogether. And there's not enough in any of the things that we've looked at, in my opinion, to turn this down. I don't think he catches that ball. I think you go with the on-field decision now, which is try.
The referee had a great view of it, but he wanted Phil Bentham, or he wants Phil Bentham just to confirm. And Catalan, by the look of things, have got just what they wanted at the start of the second half. Again, they need to oil that thing, because it's going to grind to a halt pretty soon.
It's been indicative of the tries or the no tries that have been awarded, haven't they? They've been so close. You could argue either way, depending which team you're in that ground shouting for. They're so lucky at the moment to have a lead, even though a slender one with 2 points. I thought they were outplayed in the first 40. But the bounce of the ball's gone their way, and they are ahead.
So Tony Gigot will attempt to improve on that try from Benjamin Julien, his second of the season. He got a try in round one against the Widnes Vikings. Did the former Warrington man, Benjamin Julien. And he's got Catalan off to a good start in the second half. Gigot composes himself and bang on target. And Catalan, for the first time in the game, have the lead.
Now, two really important contributions by Tony Gigot. First of all, the kick that allowed Fouad Yaha to compete and ultimately Julien to score. And then the successful conversion. They have missed a decent goal kicker in the absence of Luke Walsh. And you get the feeling that every single point is going to count, Bill.
The one thing I'd say about the number 21 who's just scored that try, Benjamin Julien, is he must have a fantastic engine, because whether he's played at Warrington or for the Catalan Dragons, he's so often in the picture. When you look at your TV screen, he's in and around the ball, very active, very mobile, very fit player that gets himself, and if the ball bounces up, he's there to take it.
Now, is that the try that galvanises the Catalan Dragons?
2.
It's what they wanted at the start of the second
Jordan!
half. It's an anxious time for the Catalan Dragons. A lot of people saying that they're too good to be bottom of the table.
3. Move, Paul!
That's where they are.
Hold.
Only twice in the last decade have they finished inside the top 4. I don't know why our perception in
Okay,
the UK
play on.
is that
3.
the Catalan Dragons are a top 4 team. You know,
4.
strength of the game, obviously heavy reliance on
Well,
Australian players at times.
They've made some really, really high-profile signings, haven't they, over the years? Which I think has probably led weight to that perception. But it's just getting that right mix, isn't it, between the culture down there, the way the game is played, the professionalism and the discipline on the field. Another massive bomb from
And
Gigo.
Gigo has hoisted that one in his senior. Under pressure underneath that one, but eventually gets away from him and from Fouad Yaha.
Now, there's a real job going to have to go on between the ears of Innis Senior. Young and inexperienced, and he could well do with a kind word from the man inside him, Aaron Murphy, who's been under plenty of those. They're going to keep coming, son. At some point, you're just going to have to put one of those, be confident, get up, take the ball, and make some yards for your team.
Will be head and feed to the Giants, but on their own 10-metre line. And here's Aaron Murphy, the man inside. Try scorer. He's held.
1.
Eventually, Murphy thought the tackle had been completed. He looks at the referee and says, come on. It's Dale Ferguson.
I think it's hey, come on here now for Huddersfield. They're trapped in a corner and their opponents have the bit between the teeth.
Paul Clough shown up strongly for the Giants in this contest at the start. Gilbert Brutus, where conditions, certainly by the Easter weekend standards, really, really good.
4.
Dry,
Move!
breezy, but not cold breezy. So the players have little to complain about. Here's a Kumatai.
Move,
Run hard.
Hold, Greg.
Running hard again there. Adam O'Brien. Rankin
40.
bangs the kick downfield. Sits up nicely for David Mead. And then Mead brings in Fouad Yaha, but Ferguson was waiting for him. But his strong runner
1.
is Fouad Yaha, the former Avignon winger.
Hold.
2 uncles who played the game. Tony Gigo now. It's Gigo.
2. Move,
Loves a
Jordan!
contest, Tony Gigo. Always looking
Not square, Jordan.
to get involved.
Always had great feet, did Gigo. He came
3.
across as a
Shannon!
young Frenchman and played with the London Broncos many, many moons ago. Even as a 16, 17-year-old, you could see that was there.
Here's Bird now. Bird has got the man outside him, and it's Mead. David Mead gets another try for the Catalan Dragons, his 4th of the season. And the Catalan Dragons just clicking there.
You can visibly see the confidence flowing back into them, can't you?
They're throwing passes, aren't they? Samasoni line, get a late pass before the line and then some evasion from Bird. It's a great rugby league try. They've got that in them. Just need to refine it by throwing a few more passes and having players moving at pace. It's a nice pass there from Bateri, gets them a bit wider.
That's the line that does it from Bird. It's a great line. And catches Jordan Rankin out. I think he thinks that he's going to drift out, bangs the left foot step down. He's got a very, very good step as Bird, and then he's strong in the tackle. Great finish by Mead.
And that's what they thought David Mead was going to provide, wasn't it? Get on the end of players like that and finish them off with his speed. It's all smiles at the moment. It will be even more so here if he can add another 2 points.
Catalan supporters finding their voices, and that hasn't happened too many times this season. And they've hit Huddersfield with 2 quick-fire tries at the start of this second half. The crowd lifting as well. So Huddersfield just shaken a bit at the moment by the way the Catalan Dragons have responded to what their coach had to say to them at half-time. And Tony Gigo, right side of the field for him, looking to get it on target. Oh! He's got good English, as Tony Gigo.
Nice little swerve step to get on the inside of Jordan Rankin. And then there's David Mead ghosting around the outside. And you're right, Phil, that is what they paid him for. He made a career out of it at the Gold Coast Titans. Short stint at Brisbane, and then he's ended up at the Dragons. But that's what he's good at. So quick the camera could barely keep up with him.
Dragons lead by 14 points to 6 as Samisoni Langi collects that ball. Huddersfield need to just get a grip on Catalan, get a grip on the game. Just try and rein in the Dragons and then their enthusiasm at the moment. Slow them down because they're playing at pace. Here's Bird. Very influential figure for the Catalan Dragons, not just on the field, off it as well. He's got a coaching role lined up for the club. Here is Busquets.
Looking for that offload over the top, John.
Wakeman trying to untangle himself. Baitieri does offload. Aiton now, the crowd enjoying this. Samisoni Langi, though, has Michael Lawrence to contend with, and Michael Lawrence, the Giants' longest-serving player now, makes sure that Samisoni Langi can't go anywhere. Now then, Gigot has hoisted that kick. It's bouncing everywhere. It's picked up by Samisoni Langi. It's with Paul Aiton. Aiton lobs it wide to Benjamin Julian. He chips it, kick it ahead. Oh, in his senior, that one went over his head, and he's grateful to hit the deck. Strange passage of play there.
Well, the initial up and under was in no man's land, but they took a risk and it bounced back for them eventually. The secondary kick put them in the corner. This is a test now, isn't it, for the young players of the Huddersfield side to stand up here now to what's being thrown at them.
Look what the Dragons are able to do as well. Man with the number 2 on his back, Jody Broughton, he's pretty much in the middle of the field, really compressing the defence.
Adam O'Brien, strong tackle on him. So Jordan Turner belts this ball downfield, but it sits up nicely for the Giants. Oh, and Daniel Smith couldn't take that one.
How were they all onside? That was amazing how quickly they got there from such a long-range kick. Well, that's an indication that the pitches are changing in Super League, aren't they? They're getting firmer. For it to bounce backwards the way it did, rather than skid on in the wet surfaces we've seen in the first 8 rounds. Summer's on its way.
That and we're in the south of France. Yeah.
It'll come, just give it a bit of time.
Is that to do with the nap of the grass or something like that, the way the groundsman's cut it?
I think possibly so. They've had some fun on this left-hand side. They're going to keep going here, aren't they now? Greg Bird outside Langi.
Well, Jody Broughton certainly hopes so. Here is Greg Bird. Baitieri on to Paul Aiton. David Mead, here is Benjamin Julian. Julian, Ferguson and Daniel Smith get a hold of him.
Dragons fans almost cheering every pass that was made in that passage of play.
Gigot, short pass, finds Greg Bird. Lawrence there to make the tackle. The ball's come out, and it was a knock-on. Bird's protesting. That's his default setting.
Scrum. Always said that's the difficult thing, isn't it, for the officials? Comes out in a very unusual way as he lost the ball with all the players around him.
Greg Bird reacts that way with every decision that either goes his way or against his way. You'd think, if he got the wrong colour Easter egg, that would be the face you'd get from him. Cracking player, though, massively influential to this Catalan Dragons team, as you mentioned. And overcome a serious knee injury as well, don't forget, to be back here and contributing in 2018.
Michael Lawrence plays the ball. And that's quickly up.
Brilliant,
from
isn't
the
it?
Catalan Dragons.
Busquets. They've got a grip on the game and they can't afford to let go of it.
They're not letting go of Sebastien Ikehihifo. He plays the ball. Akumatai now. Great work. Again, trying to offload as well. It's a hand in the face, gets up to his feet, unflustered. Smith, that's the 5th tackle. Huddersfield maybe steadying the ship a little bit. Rankin puts the kick into the sun. Mead is looking, you just saw him squinting there, and then says to Jody Broughton, go on, take him on. Could be an issue that for David Mead at the back. The sun's setting behind the stand at the far end of the field. Oh, Fuad Yaha closed down by Aaron Murphy. Rode the challenge well, though.
Well, Murphy knows he needs to change the flow of the game, and pulling off a hit like that, or forcing possession, could be the way of doing it. They've had a very difficult 12-minute period since we restarted after the break. Most of it's been in their own half of the field. It looks as though here now, as we approach the end of this set, they're going to end up back in that.
You sense the Dragons smell blood, though. They're visibly up the tempo.
Sebastien, here comes Langy, beg your pardon. Here's Tony Gigot. Gigot going across the field, back to Mead. Mead will get a second. David Mead under the posts. And yes, they do scent blood. The Catalan Dragons, straight up the middle.
That's a great step off the left and then the right from Samisoni Langy. Gigot skirts and drags the fullback, finds the ball back on the inside, and that is where a top draw fullback will always be, never more than a pass distance away in support. We'll see if we can pick him up on the shadowing run. Just disappeared out the right-hand side of your screen, but he'll appear in support for Tony Gigot, and it's a lovely little cushion pass. Wins the foot race to the line. David Mead, double strike, 2 tries in 6 or 7 minutes, and the Dragons visibly lifted the tempo in the last 90 seconds of that game, and they get the rewards.
And the Dragons supporters, who haven't had a lot to cheer about this season, just the 1 win to date, and that was a nervy one. Well, they're seeing more like the side they want to come and see. And David Mead gets try number 5 for the season, 2 today. He got tries in the opening 3 games, then has hit a little bit of a drought, but he's back on the scoreboard today. Tony Gigot playing a big part in this Catalan Dragons second half display. And Steve McNamara must have said something that's got them fired up in this second half, because they've certainly come out and they've dominated the game so far after the break. Gigot, this time he is on target.
Well, I asked a question before the game, what was Samisoni Langy going to bring to this Catalan Dragons? That's the best example of anything he's done here now so far this season. And maybe as the weather gets warmer, pitches gets firmer, and he can demonstrate that sort of footwork. Defenders in the middle of the field will see more runs, more plays, more tries like that. Wonderfully all set up by the standoff, and complemented by his teammate Tony Gigot, completed by his colleague David Mead.
Scored tries wherever he's been, really, David Mead. He was Gold Coast's record try scorer. Is, in fact, still holds the Gold Coast record try tally. 67 in his career there. And that's what Catalan need. Here is Braden Williami. What the Huddersfield Giants need is something to rattle the Dragons' grip on this game, because it has been all Catalan in the second half so far. 20 points to 6 they lead, having trailed 6-4 at the break. It's by Thierry. Eventually stopped. Dale Ferguson taking as long as he can and then taking too long, and that eventually is a penalty.
That could be a really costly penalty to give away. The next 30 seconds to a minute will tell you. But I think the mood and the gears that the Catalan Dragons have found just in this opening 15 minutes of the second half, I'd be worried if I was defending as a Huddersfield player now. There's some obvious fatigue there, some obvious signs of fatigue. It's a big forward pack for the Huddersfield Giants as well. That never helps when you're doubling up on the games. Here come the Dragons.
Kumatai was trying to unsettle Mikel Simon there, I think, but something else has. Former Wakefield man has picked up some sort of injury there.
This is one of those situations now where the Giants need to suck in as much oxygen as they can here. They're 14 points behind, but there's ample time for them to score the points if they can prevent the Dragons in this next phase. They obviously need to get to the end of the field. They need a swing of possession, but that tends to happen over a 40-minute period. One team have a lot of the ball, and then it turns around and the opposition get it. Huddersfield have just got to wait patiently and hope that their turn comes very quickly. There's a twist of the ankle on the ground there as he's tackled. The breaking play gives them every chance here now to do what they can to communicate and prepare for what the Dragons might put on, what plays they might have prepared. There's four players left in this set.
Yeah, it's Iki Hifo, just catches the foot. You can see it getting twisted underneath. That's obviously what's bothering him, what's ailing him, Mikel Simon, but he's back on his feet.
Okay, and my whistles. Mikel, okay. Tackle 2.
Bit gingerly,
Tackle 2, mate.
Mikel Simon, but
It would be, wouldn't you? Iki Hifo's a rather large human.
he's okay to carry on. And here comes another large human,
Vicky!
Julien Busquet. Right in front of those posts, Samisoni Langi, quick hands. Gigot fancies his chances. Huddersfield scramble across and cover well to hold him up just short.
In fact, it was Willie Harmer, wasn't it? And Mead then tries, but he's thrown over the sideline.
That's
And they
great
kept
work.
their hopes alive here, the Giants. They're doing whatever they can here. Look, he goes hard and low, but Jared Simpson and Jordan Rankin pull him over the side. They're going to get head and feet at this scrum. Over 20 minutes remaining. They've got to hope that they can work their way upfield here.
We saw the hat-trick, didn't he, David Mead? But it's good concentration from Jared Simpson and Jordan Rankin. Very often on the short side, particularly in the edges, you have very little to do, but when you are called upon, you need to be on point and you need to be focused. And they've proved there that this game has not been given up despite the 14-point disadvantage they find themselves.
Well, yeah, Catalan's confidence is brittle. I mean, they have this 14-point lead, but it wouldn't take much for them to start getting a bit twitchy.
Well, this is it. It's very hard to see where it's come from in this game, and it wouldn't be very hard to see where it'll go. And that's the thing with confidence. If you could bottle it, you'd be a very wealthy man. But where it comes from and where it disappears to, and how quickly it does both, I think the Dragons and Dragons fans have experienced during the course of 2018.
Bird again with the tackle, stopping the progress of Hakuma Tai. Colton Roche just inside Huddersfield's territory, and then Rankin hurriedly puts boot to ball, and Mead nonchalantly gathers and then returns. Look at that sunshine on a rugby league field.
I think you'll start to see David Mead move in a different way now. He started to get over the line and score some tries. I think visibly he'll be more confident. You'll be able to detect that with where he puts himself in and around the ball.
It was their marquee signing this year, wasn't it? I do think he's been one of the bright spots actually for the Dragons this season. I think all the way back to their sole victory this season so far. 40-20 attempted here by Tony Gigot.
Hasn't quite got the angle right. Darnell McIntosh will run the ball back.
Yeah, look back to the only victory against Hull Cow, and David Mead was exceptional in that game as well. Scored the try from Greg Bird that sealed the game, and was excellent in defence as well.
In his senior, doing well. Gets around the first two tacklers, but Benjamin Julian there eventually to bring him down. He gets a quick play the ball away, and they are offsides.
This could be, the Giants need to make this the start of their comeback. Long kick to touch here from Turner. Take your time.
So can they make the most of this?
They've been doing that much defensive work, though. Have they got enough energy here now to push up and be around the ball? Enough players.
Daniel Smith turns in the tackle, gets the pass away. Hakuma Tai, Jordan Rankin. Rankin's pass, nice one. Finds McIntosh. And Catalan defending now as Turner sends in Ferguson. Rankin knocks on.
Is it a knock on from Gigot first?
First one, Huddersfield ball.
Yeah, he was. The Giants will get possession again here now.
Huddersfield ball. Here we go.
And Gigo rushed in. I would like to see if Jordan Turner can find a way of making himself a running threat rather than just a static passing one. He's distributing the ball, passing it to guys around him, kicking it at times. Mustn't forget to still run with it.
The Dragons actually claiming there that Gigo's gone in and knocked it back towards his own goal line, which, looking at the replay, I think he's got a case.
Head in, David. Time off.
Not according to the
David,
referee.
No, David wasn't. Yeah, no problem. Just make sure, fellas.
Huddersfield's ahead and feed then.
Out.
In a good position. Here is Rankin.
One.
Colton
Move,
Roch.
Sam. Hold. Go.
Adam O'Brien.
2. Move, Jason. Go.
Daniel Smith plays the ball. Here is Turner. Little step from Turner. Turner muscling his way over. Can he ground?
Hold
No.
up.
Great work from Tony Gigo. And from Benjamin Julian, who was underneath there.
Tackle 3.
Yeah, they had to do. Look at that remarkable job. He keeps it 3 inches off the floor.
Go.
But that's good work from the Catalan Dragons. Akuma Tai.
4. Move. Hold.
4 tackles gone.
Go.
Adam O'Brien. Rankin, little step from
5.
him. Good tackle from the captain, Remy Casti.
Go.
O'Brien's pass. Oh, and then Huddersfield.
He's offside.
Get the
Pass the
penalty.
ball into one of his players. He's bounced forward to one of his teammates. He's offside, isn't he? I think we didn't quite see the best angle of it.
Didn't see it.
But that's what's happened. Well, I'm guessing what happened next. If it's one of those quiz shows
Okay, mate.
I used to watch when I was young, I think that's what happened next. And
This line, fellas.
it's a big loss for the Giants. They're not going to get that many chances,
Hold.
are they, down?
Hold. Go.
They have to be the next ones to score. I'm saying it has to be soon, but they have to be the next ones to score. So
Move,
not
Michael.
conceding is equally as
Hold the 10.
important
Hold.
as scoring. And whilst they don't have possession, that's the only thing they can work on. Casti just about clings onto it.
Nearly lost it there, did the old campaigner Remy Casti.
3.
33 years of age.
Move,
This is
Sebastian.
246th
Hold.
Super League appearance, so now just 8 behind Greg Muniz' record. Short pass finds Sam Moa.
Move. No, stand up.
One man went to Moa but couldn't stop him. 2 did eventually. Here is David Mead. And Mead is driven back.
Held.
Referee says play on,
Time off. Held.
and then says he was held.
Sounded.
This will be 5. Go.
Last tackle, here he is. Aerial
Gigo.
attack.
Oh, the ball is dropped and grounded. And I think McIntosh has just managed to defuse that.
Is it Jared Simpson?
Jared Simpson is it,
Time
beg your
off.
pardon.
Jody Broughton's claiming the try here.
I think
We've got no
What's
try.
your view,
Check the
John?
grounding.
I've got no try.
Well,
I
I'll
think
go-
Simpson grounded
Well,
it.
I'll go try then.
Okay. Gigo's kicks are brilliant, aren't they? It's gone backwards. Now then, there's left hand.
Well, oh.
Who gets to it first? I think Simpson's left hand on the second effort grounds it in goal.
I'm not sure whose arm that is. It's a good kick. Everybody looks onside from a Dragons' point of view. It's Gigo again with the boot. It's a good chase by Broughton. Just took his eyes off it at the last minute, didn't he, Jared Simpson?
Watch this next one.
And that's
That's
Jody
it.
Broughton.
No. It's
That's Jody Broughton's arm. This'll be turned over.
I think I'm with John on this one.
Have a look at the thumb strapping. That's Jody Broughton, and that's a try.
Phil Bentham is the video ref. He's had
You're
a
right.
busy afternoon in Perpignan.
Is there a question whether
whether the Broughton's are affecting Simpson on the floor? Probably not, no.
Yeah.
We've gone to it quickly.
Okay.
Could be a second try of the game for Jody Broughton. The try
No
is
try.
denied.
The penalty for a push.
So it is. It's the tackle on Simpson when the ball's on the floor now. At what point It's a push there then without possession.
It's a really tough call on Jody Broughton because Jody Broughton's
slow motion.
Well, he's also expecting Jared Simpson to have caught the ball. Yeah. You can't just suddenly.
Okay, hold. Go.
You're not saying that just because you're wrong, though, are you, John? You ordered a try.
That was a tough call.
Hold. Go.
But one that the Huddersfield Giants will welcome. How are players supposed to suddenly realise, well, he hasn't caught that ball, I better not tackle him? I mean, he's halfway through the motion of doing that, isn't he?
It is, and you could almost say that Jared Simpson's error has saved them a try there, because you know, if he hadn't have dropped it, then it would have been a perfectly legitimate tackle.
What it does, though, it keeps the Giants alive in this contest. About 15 to go. About 15 points needed. We're going to have to take some risks here, keep the ball alive a little bit. They're playing against a side that have been embarrassed for about 8 weeks in a row and are so determined now not to let this lead slip.
Seb Ikehihifo. Bird goes high. The Giants prop rides the challenge. Here's Akuma Tai, who's really shown up well.
It's a penalty. I've got it. High tackle. Greg.
And there's another penalty. It's a high tackle. There's a bit of a shove. Thornley in there. Louis Anderson and Jordan Turner.
It's going to spice up the remainder of this game.
Separate.
The penalty already awarded, wasn't it, for a high tackle?
Time's
Needs to stop the clock.
Okay, fellas. Just go that way, Greg, for me. Need to stop this.
And the initial penalty, I think, is going to go for Greg Bird. There's the lazy left arm. It is up off the ball, around the neck of Ikehihifo.
Ben, that way, please.
There's a great kick to touch here now when this eventually restarts, and they need some invention. Rankin and Turner, they look sharp, and did McIntosh at the start of the match. I'm not surprised, they've been playing for over an hour.
Yeah, I'll just speak to the captains. Okay.
Referee aims to speak to both captains here.
Michael! Just go that way, mate.
Is that necessary at this point? It's been a fairly
well-observed
game, hasn't it?
So.
I'm not sure that we need the stoppage that we've got.
What we've got, the first incident is a high tackle from Greg Bird. That's the penalty. Speak to your players. I don't want them running in, OK? I'm not going to accept that anymore. Penalties here.
The Giants get the penalty after all of that. They've had a penalty on their own try line. They've got a penalty now deep in opposition territory.
What are you doing? Wait there.
And they need to capitalise on this now. Time running out for them.
Okay. Go. One. Move, Remy! Hold. Remy,
Adam O'Brien. Jordan Turner. Pass wide to Murphy, but Murphy's ball back in field. Desperation, and Murphy acknowledges, so close.
Well, it was Jared Simpson, wasn't it, who came through as the fullback, chiming into the line there to find a space for Murphy, but the ball's come free, and it's a sad end to the set.
I think
and possibly the Giants' hopes.
Murphy's been pulled back there by Tony Gigo. He got an arm free, and I'm not saying the ball was necessary right now, but I think he's in the right frame of mind because the clock is now ticking on. He got the right arm free. I think the ball was destined for the wing, but Gigo's involvement there had pulled him back and changed the trajectory of that ball. The Catalan Dragons escape again. The Dragons don't need to score. I'd like to see them continuing playing positive rugby, however, because that will really give them a lift, as well as the 2 competition points in terms of confidence and momentum going into their next game.
Well, of course, that's Wigan next week, isn't it? That'll be a big game, a popular game for the Dragon supporters here. They can build in some confidence for next Saturday.
A game you can see on Sky Sports. The Catalan Dragons welcoming the Wigan Warriors. Bird just keeps a hold of that ball. There's a Huddersfield player interfering there. There you go, Catalan Wigan 5-10 on Saturday for that one.
He puts the ball on the floor. I don't know if we'll see a replay of it, and it seems as though it's an incorrect play. The ball puts it down, then kicks it forward. Two attempts.
Next line, come on.
3 tries in the space of 11 minutes in this second half have turned this game heavily in favour of the Catalan Dragons now.
Okay, 1.
20 points to 6 they lead, having trailed 6-4 at the break. Looking for another try that would maybe ensure only their second victory of the season. Short pass finds Louis Anderson, who clings onto the ball.
3. Move. Hold.
McAlorum. Samisoni Langi fires the pass to Bird.
Great
Giant
defence.
scrambling across.
Great effort there to keep the hopes alive.
Going down the short side, and in at the corner goes Jody Broughton. Is the referee going to award this one?
Okay.
Well, there was a question about whether he dropped the ball going over the line from where we were sat, so he's also not convinced. He's checking for a knock-on now. I presume is that in the grounding?
Just checking for a knock-on at the play of the ball.
At the play of the ball, I beg your pardon. It's a knock-on at the play of the ball.
So a knock-on at the play of the ball, a knock-on just before the try.
Well, we've not gone back far enough, have we, there now?
It's a nice ball, isn't it, from Mickey
He
McAlorum.
takes this on the half volley. Superbly, Jody
No
Broughton.
problem with any of that. So it's just whether Greg Bird knocks on as he's putting the ball at the ground. It's certainly no knock on from McAlorum. He picks up cleanly. There's no problem here to the point of the try. So if they're going to find a reason to turn this over, they're going to have to go further back and have a look at what Greg Bird does.
Incorrect play of the ball. Doesn't touch it with his foot. That's what you get done for the NRL.
I'll tell you, if you're going to chalk off a try for that,
well, that's as correct to play the ball as you can see.
Yeah, you see 50 of those a game.
They would do in Australia. They'd disallow that, wouldn't they?
Was there a little touch from Braden Williame there as the ball went across the face of the Catalan centre? What's the decision this time? It's just going to creep.
Come on.
It's just made it. You can hear it creaking, can't you?
Wow, there's more pressure on the video referee than the referee in the game of rugby league nowadays, isn't there? When you think back to that decision, was it about the 30th minute mark when Aaron Murphy was denied that try? Fuajaha caught the ball, Murphy stripped it from him and crashed over in the first half, which would have been a second try then. At that point, I think it would have made it 8-0 or possibly 10-0 to the Giants, but it was denied controversially. And from that point on, the Giants have failed to score again.
To Tony Gigot then to try and land this conversion from out wide. Hit the post from this sort of distance. Oh, he's done the other one.
He's skillful.
He's done a double.
Yeah. There, see a pass, nice pass from McAlorum to Broughton.
Oh,
they need a threat, don't they, in a variety of what places, and more danger from the hooker, be it Ayton or McAlorum, would certainly help them.
That's Broughton's second, isn't it? Mead with 2 in the second half. Broughton, we're on 22 minutes. 1. Well, I think we're nearly into the last 10 minutes of the game.
24-6. The video ref can't adjudicate on an incorrect play the ball.
No, it was a knock-on we were looking for, when there was evidence of a knock-on.
Just in case you were looking for an incorrect play the ball.
No, I was saying that
expecting him to
because
adjudicate
I believe at some point in the future it might come in.
2. Move, Dale!
I know, but I'd like to see people play the ball with a foot, and I think it will come in over here. So why we don't play with the rules? If we don't stick to the rules, then change them. But the Dragons are not bothered about the rules right now. They just want to roll forward here now and score again and again.
24 points to 6. The Catalan Dragons lead.
Got to stop for a head.
And we've got a player down with a head injury, so the referee's stopped the clock.
For a head, okay.
Well, he hasn't stopped the clock yet.
Keep that mark, Phil.
Colton Roche is the player down. Colton Roach, beg your pardon. Bang on the head. Well, it's been a tough task for the Huddersfield Giants, coming here with so many first-choice players missing. Chris Thorman, interim coach following the departure of Rick Stone, bringing in several youngsters, players like Colton Roach, Shannon Wakeman, who haven't featured in the side at this level before. Shannon Wakeman has, but not for some considerable time, and Colton Roach is going to have to leave the field. Whose head What a bang
It's
of
a glancing shot, isn't it? There you go, the elbow.
Louis Anderson's elbow as he's...
Yeah, no problem.
It's not how hard you get hit, it's where you get hit, and that was a...
Not yet, it's still there.
Just buzzed the side of the temple.
No problem.
That'll be him for the evening.
Just under 10 minutes to go. Catalan leading by 24 points to 6. And this is a much needed win for the Dragons after their trials and tribulations of this Super League season. That was forward to Braden William, and they thought they were on the way to another one.
Yeah, but it looks like they're starting to flow. This is a big question now. Are they on their way back? We'll know, I suppose, next week when they play against the Wigan side. Pass, well, almost flat one, wasn't it? A little unlucky there that the referee's giving it forward. They're starting to throw some passes, which is what they'll have to do if they want to climb up the table.
We missed Greg Bird's reaction as well, but I can tell you from previous experience what it would have been.
Wait.
But that's the sort of stuff we're hoping to see more of now from the Dragons.
Make sure we're all in.
Well, I'm talking them up. Don't forget, this time last year they had a very convincing win, 38 points to 6 over Salford on Easter Monday, and yet still ended the season playing in the £1 million match. So I don't think there's any way the Dragons fans will think that the problems are all over straight away. But they're certainly heading in the right direction with and without the ball, pushing him back towards his own line.
Tony, you're off!
Dale Ferguson and the penalty awarded, and the referee had warned Tony Gigot. So the Giants get the penalty. Just hanging on to it.
I think that's fatigue. I think that's visible evidence of how tired now they've been. They've worked so hard to defend so much of this second half.
Huddersfield putting in a big effort against the Leeds Rhinos on Good Friday, and having to back up with a trip to Perpignan on this Easter Monday. And it wasn't an easy trip either. They were delayed at the airport. And next up for them, of course, the Castleford Tigers. That ball's knocked down by a Catalan hand. No, says the referee. But still the fourth tackle.
5. Move, River! Hold. Go.
On the last. Little grubber kick from Jordan Rankin.
Well read by Broughton. It was important that he got back in the side. What a pass there to Mead!
Mead, can he go the distance? Across comes Innis Senior to try and cut him down. Mead just goes infield, but the tackle eventually is made.
What an effort by the Giants there to get back. They've half a side back already.
Mead's got cramp.
Tackle one.
What an effort. There's great evidence there of a side. The game's effectively over, isn't it? They've probably lost at 24 points to 6 with 8 minutes or so to go. But their effort here, when the line's broken, and it's a wonderful offload here from Jody Broughton. Look out the back of the hand. He sees David Mead, but he doesn't have the speed to go the length. Michael Lawrence and co working overtime here now, aren't they? Doing everything they can. Innis Senior.
It
was good.
Darnell McIntosh get back to deny him.
Innis Senior's come from the other end of the other side of the field, covered fully 50 metres. And he's no slouch, as we know, David Mead.
But they are looking for more points here now. Here is Jody Broughton. Broughton is held just short of the try line. Bird fancies it himself. Oh, that was high from Daniel Smith on Greg Bird. He takes some stick, does Greg Bird. He puts himself in there to take stick. Uprooted he was there.
Well, was he thrown over the sideline in the first half? Decapitated in the second.
Penalty awarded. So Catalan may be playing themselves into confident mood. Sam Moa is held.
Release!
Eventually is released. McAlorum, he's over the line. The ball's batted back and Huddersfield pick it up.
Penalty. Ball steal.
It was a ball steal, says the referee.
Well, he didn't go to the video referee. He was in a good position.
Well, what price Greg Bird a try now then to finish this game off? He's had everything else, hasn't he?
So just explain to viewers, it's not a penalty try, is it? If they strip the ball in that position, they don't award that at all. They only give you a penalty 10 metres out, so those are the rules. If anyone was watching and wondering why it wasn't given as a penalty try.
So they'll go for the 2 points, running the clock down here. Still 7 minutes to go. 6.
Well, is this energy conservation now?
Wigan to come on Saturday.
Tony, back here. Here's the mark. Okay.
And Tony Gigot, who could have had more points to his name. And he's hit the upright twice. This one, he should put between the uprights. 26-6. Catalan Dragons lead. Their biggest win of the season coming up.
It's the first time they've scored more than 16 points in a game, so that's certainly got to give them some confidence. They've had an element of luck. If you think the video referee went for them in the first half when Murphy was denied, and then for them at the start of the second half, that kick went up into the corner. The ball bounced away for Benjamin Julien. They will say probably at the start of the season they've had some bad luck, so they're hoping it evens itself up. Yeah, kick, it's gone over. Has it gone over the 10-metre line? Probably not with that wind. Senior catches it, penalty back on the halfway line, but can't fault them for trying.
Convincing win ultimately for the Catalan Dragons. Not so convincing in the first half. Huddersfield actually led 6-4 at the break. And Catalan will breathe a lot easier after this result.
Back with me, fellas! Back with me! Back with me!
Just about full strength side out on the pitch. You do wonder if we're going to see Luke Walsh again. Lots of speculation as to his fitness.
And maybe we'll see Lucas Albert again some point this season. It was a very tough start to play scrum half in the side at the bottom of the league for the French club. It was, you know, it was a very difficult period for him, but I don't think it was his fault, the reason why they lost so many games. I hope to see him back at some point.
Short pass finds Julien Bousquet. Michael McAlorum getting fit and getting used to the side is a big plus, and how he must be looking forward to Saturday and the game against his former club, the Wigan Warriors. McAlorum fires the ball up. It's there. Held up.
Sam Moore, wasn't it? Crashed it, passed it in front of Casti.
On the 10, fellas.
Great catch, because it was high above his head and he was moving fast. But the tackle from the Giants do well. Daniel Smith and co wrap the ball up. And you've got to give them 10 out of 10 here for their efforts for the Huddersfield team.
5. Move, Paul!
Yep. They go for 1 point, and Gigot will get that. Just rubbing salt into the wounds.
I think it shows the array of skills that Tony Gigot has. He's passing, kicking, support play. He's a player who I think the Dragons are hoping that in the second half of the year he's going to be on the winning side, and he's going to be one of the reasons why they are the winning side in so many matches.
Well, Catalan will stay bottom of the Super League table, but they'll have 2 wins to their name.
All on side.
And they will feel a lot better about life. They have got an almighty challenge coming up against Wigan on Saturday. A Wigan side who've beaten Hull Kingston Rovers convincingly this Easter Monday.
0. Keep that mark.
Lawrence regathers. An attempted catch by Greg Bird. Ball travelled 10. Back into Huddersfield. Have they got one last attack in them? There's just under 3 minutes to go. Take something themselves. Some positive out of this game.
They take a lot of positives out of the first half, but they were caught cold at the start of this second half, weren't they? Those 3 quick-fire tries between the 42nd and the 53rd minute for the Catalan Dragons, and they've never really recovered from that.
Move, Julian!
But Chris Thorman's second game in charge has seen a side shorn of some big names, really trying their hardest. And right to the last.
Catalan scrum.
Catalan will get the head and feed, though, here as in his senior. Well, he'd let the ball go before he found touch.
He has, but the referee had already made his decision. And in his senior, he'll never forget his debut. That will be one of the hardest debuts to make, I think. Easter Monday away at the Catalan Dragons, who were absolutely desperate. They would kill to win this match. They've not needed to do, but they'll be happy that they've managed to win.
Okay, fellas.
They're going to have to do better still to unsettle the Wigan Warriors at the weekend.
Well, that's what sport needs. It needs upsets, doesn't it? We need the competition to have some interest, some intrigue. Can you tune in? Can the underdog win?
That game, though, does tend to bring the best out of Catalan when Wigan come to town. Greg Bird will be revelling in it. Bird is upended. And there's a penalty.
Yeah. Dangerous tackle, fellas. Gone over.
Dangerous tackle, says Scott Michelauskas. The Catalan supporters in good voice. Something for them to cheer about. And relief for the Dragons and for coach Steve McNamara that at last this season they've come up with a performance that's more like the Dragons of old.
Stand!
Yeah, they've made it a happy Easter for the fans. And I think they've got to hope that here now, with the change of the weather, change of the seasons, it can be a new season start now for the Dragons.
Move!
A win at home here, even though it's against a depleted side. They've got to build on that.
Huddersfield will hope to get players back, the likes of Jermaine McGilvray, Danny Brough and co, back soon, because it's asking a lot of these youngsters. Oh, Samisoni Langi manages to keep a hold of that ball. Have Catalan got something in the locker just for the last few seconds here? Here is Samisoni Langi. Footwork from him. No such frippery from Samoa. The hooter will sound with him in possession. And Huddersfield tired and beaten by a Catalan Dragon side who've dominated the second half of this game at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. And they've scored 4 tries. They've also kicked a penalty from Tony Gigot and a drop goal from Tony Gigot to wrap up ultimately a successful victory. There is the table. Catalan stay bottom, but they've closed up on Hull Kingston Rovers, and Huddersfield and Salford are within reach. So in fact it's the top 6. And St Helens still top after their victory against the Widnes Vikings on Easter Monday. And that wraps up a busy Easter. And you can see all the tries from all the Easter Monday games. Super League full time, 10 o'clock tomorrow on Sky Sports action. NRL try time is on Wednesday, 8 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. And then 3 NRL games coming up. Thursday, Canberra versus Canterbury, 10:50, Sky Sports Arena for that on Thursday. Cronulla take on the Roosters at 9 on Sky Sports Arena on Friday. Saturday, West Tigers against Melbourne Storm, 6 AM on Sky Sports Arena for those. And in Super League on Friday, Saints against Hull FC, 7:30 on Arena and main event. On Saturday, Salford against Warrington at 3:10 on Arena. And that's followed by that game we've been talking about, Wigan's trip to Perpignan to take on the Catalan Dragons. That's at 5:10 on Sky Sports Arena, and the Catalan Dragons will go into that game in much better heart after their ultimately convincing win over the Huddersfield Giants. Thanks for your company. Thanks to John and Phil. See you again.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.